I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we'd like to take a moment and remember a couple of fellas here, John Tallman and Bill Higgins. Now, Bill Higgins was on the village board. For many years, he sat here. I sat over there. He was here for a long time, a good trustee. So if we could remember those two fellas. Thank you. Is there any comments on agenda items? All right, new business. We have minutes before us from a special meeting on June 12th, 2018. May I have a motion to accept those minutes?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Brian, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Ramus, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We had a meeting on June 18th, 2018. All were present but Barbara, so could I have a motion to accept those minutes?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Trustee Livesey, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Howard, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
Yes. Motion carries. 4-1. One abstention. We had a special meeting on the 2nd of July, 2018. May I have a motion to accept those minutes?
Motion to accept.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And one and you're going to abstain.
Right.
Okay, got it, Gina? Thank you.
But I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. I just wanted you to. Next on the agenda is for the board to authorize the mayor to sign an agreement with Nugent Hausler for services to perform an audit for the period ending May 31, 2018. The cost is not to exceed $22,500, and it's an item that's already been budgeted for.
I'll make a motion on that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Sarge, we're going to do the two dispatchers now.
Yes, sir.
But before we do that, and I know after they're accepted, then more than likely you guys will leave. What I want to say before I do the dispatchers, I want you to take this back to the men and women over at the police station. It comes from the board. I'm happy, again, to report that there were 2 more drug arrests since our last meeting. It's all under the name of Operation Street Sweeper, an appropriate name for these characters. So we continue. We've done very well. And we want the community to know that we're not done. We're not closing down Operation Street Sweeper at all. We're still out there. And I want you to take, again, back from the board that we appreciate the efforts. You know, because I can have my meetings and I can tell you what I want, but it's up to you guys to make it all happen. And it takes work. It takes a lot of work. So I appreciate it. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much,
All right,
sir.
please.
I'll bring that back to him.
Thank you.
Mayor?
Yeah.
I also would like to add thanks to the department. A neighbor of mine last week or a number of days ago had an episode because of extreme heat exhaustion. Our police were on scene very early before the ambulance and did an outstanding job of, trying to make her comfortable, lower her height temperature at the time, and they really came to the forefront.
Thank you. There's a lot that goes on every day, 24 hours a day, Saturdays and Sundays, that a lot of folks don't know. So we're going to highlight it here. So that's a highlight. Thank you. Okay, these interviews were done, background checks were done. Several people were involved in the interviews. We have two candidates that here before us that the chief and the sergeant are recommending to the village to hire. We'll do the first one as a full-time dispatcher. Carrie Ann, is it Petty? Pettit. Step 1, 52-week probation is being recommended. If I could have a motion to bring her on board.
Motion.
Motion by trustee Howard, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Livesey, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome. Next, we have a recommendation from the chief of Caitlin Rodriguez. Again, step 1, 52-week probation. If we could bring her on board now would be time. Now would be the right time.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by trustee Murphy, seconded by trustee Howard. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Welcome. Welcome. Tanya, break them in good. All right? All right, and I'm very happy that it's bringing our strength up because we had other folks working many more hours than they should have been. So I'm glad for you also, Tanya. You have a little time off now. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Where you going? Oh, you have to stay for the whole meeting?
Tanya thinks you get it now.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sarge.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Have a good day.
All right, we have another appointment to make tonight. Ryan Kresbach to the position of a seasonal employee at a rate of $11 an hour, Monday through to Thursday, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. For approximately 12 weeks. This is budgeted also, an item that we have budgeted for. And he'll take care of the watering, he'll take care of Roe Park, the bathrooms, et cetera, so.
I think this is a great idea, and the town does the same thing. They have someone for the season, and this will take a lot off of those
Oh,
guys,
yeah,
so.
oh, yeah,
Good idea.
thank you.
I'll even make a motion on that.
Motion by trustee Livesey, is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Ramus, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next, we have a resignation from Mary Landers. This is truly one of those resignation letters that you do hold in regret. She's been just a terrific employee. You all know that from downstairs. But she wants to retire, so we have to honor that. So if we could accept this retirement, this resignation, my last day of work will be the 31st of July.
I'll make the motion to accept Mary's letter of resignation with extreme regret and real thanks for her service while she's been here.
Thank you, Charlie.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have a request to use Roe Park Field from the Highland Falls softball team on Sunday afternoon, noon to 4:30. This has been okayed with no interruptions in something that the recreation is planning. But I just want you to look at the last page. It tells you all the dates. I believe that they were on Fickens Field, and the school asked them not to play on Fickens Field, so now they're over to Roe Park. So, they have,
So,
they have their insurance.
just a question, the Howland Falls softball team, who is that?
Well, that's a good question, but it's this. I mean, I can't tell you names, because I don't know.
It's this here?
Yeah, like,
Is this women's softball?
see, no, men.
Men.
See, when it says, these guys from the Bronx are gonna play Holland Falls at home, Holland Falls is the team. Now, I can't tell you, you know any more? No. It's a lot.
So Howland Falls now has a softball team, men's.
I could add something to it.
Brief. You have to get up to the microphone.
It's called Howland Falls Patriots.
Ned Cobalt. A team from the Bronx, or teams from the Bronx, were using Fickens Field, and there were a significant number of residents from contiguous to Fickens Field. The games were on Sunday.
Well, I know all that, Ned, but let's get to you know who these, I think he's asking who they are.
I don't know.
Other than playing, I don't care about Fickens.
I don't, well, I care.
Yeah, I know, but that's not for here.
Well, I don't know why it's not for here. It's relevant if these individuals are not members of the community, and they were using the field.
Do you know that?
Yes, and they made a representation that they had the authority from the school and had placed insurance, both of which was not true.
Okay.
I would think that a great many of the people in Roe Park and the road going into where the Roses and the acquaintances live would also be concerned that if this is going on for many hours, as it indicates, on a Sunday. Extreme noise.
Okay, thank you.
See, my point just was, I thought maybe, you got the men's softball up there, maybe this was just a bunch of them guys getting
No.
together, forming one team.
No.
Which to me, I think is a great thing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right,
So,
but no.
no, I'm good with it. Jim Stradley would know, that's who would know. My guess.
But is this softball team really from the village, or,
My suspicion means whatever that means, that some of them are, I would assume, but that some of them are.
Well, they have here, it says Howland Falls Patriots. So that must be the name of the Howland Falls team, is the Howland Falls Patriots.
It's 153 Main Street Town Hall?
No, that's 245.
It's at 153.
Oh, whoa,
because
whoa,
That's
whoa,
the address they gave.
Well, that's where the address is of the person who's sponsoring. And there's his name down there.
Well, listen, if Howland Falls has a softball team and they got some good things going for recreation, I don't have a problem with that.
Anybody want to make a motion, or?
Just one more question.
Sure.
Where did they play this past Sunday? Were they at Fickens Field or were they on our field? Because it looks like they had a game yesterday.
They've been told not to play on Pickens Field by the school.
Does Falk know anything about this?
Well, he's got I see his name right here.
He signed off on it,
When's the next game?
the 22nd.
A large chunk of their season is already passed, and I guess they have been playing on Fickens Field.
They have not been playing on Pickens Field, so
Listen, one thing I can't do is have this going back and forth.
at least
So,
a month.
okay, thank you, Ned. But I can't do that anymore. That's not the way we run the meeting. But, yeah, you're right. They have 10 games left.
But only a few of them are here. Looks like some are elsewhere.
Like I say, I mean, Aaron knows about it, and if they formed a men's softball team in Highland Falls to play other communities and this and that, and they're using our field as a home field, they got insurance here and everything else. I don't think we got a women's league now we got a men's league, so. As many times I go up that park, I see it empty. And I always shake my head, how can this park be sitting here empty like this? So,
Excuse me, ma'am, on the insurance, currently they don't have it for the village, they're waiting to see if they're approved.
But they have the forms in here.
That's the reason, that's what they provided to the school district. They haven't provided it with the village's name.
They don't want to
yet,
get the insurance
they
until they have an answer. So, let's move on. And Merv, do you want to make that a motion to?
well, if I make a motion, I'll make a motion that we approve of this just as long as, after this meeting, they come to the village hall with a proof of insurance before they play ball.
Oh, yeah,
But I would like to have that in my motion,
yeah.
so,
It's contingent on the insurance.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Roll call.
Trustee Howard,
Aye.
trustee Livesey,
Aye.
trustee Ramus.
Aye.
Trustee Murphy. Aye. Mayor DiNapoli.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, thank you. All right, let's go to the next request. There's a request to use the pavilion at Roe Park, Big Brothers Big Sisters, for a barbecue on the 4th of August. You have that before you, and they're asking to waive the entertainment fee. Which I think I would recommend, if we care to make a motion on this to allow it, I would like as part of the motion that there are no bouncy houses as part of this, because there's no insurance. The village doesn't have insurance, and they're recommending against any bouncy houses.
The insurances.
That's why we didn't have it.
Right.
So, let's,
Over here. Part-time production will also be providing bouncy houses.
he'll be the DJ.
Yeah, but you see that, you're
Huh?
right.
It says in writing on the first page, bouncy houses will be provided.
Where's that?
First page.
Yeah.
It says providing bounce house.
All right, there's no, I don't know what this person doesn't understand. The motion, if you care to let this happen, should be that Big Brothers and Big Sisters can use the pavilion on the date they're asking, on the 4th of August, from noon to 3. They'll have a DJ. I would suggest that the village board waive the entertainment fee, but again, no bouncy houses are permitted. They're not permitted at, next month at the night out that the police put on. No one saw bouncy houses at Roe Park on the 4th of July, et cetera, so that's the way it should go down. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Howard, is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Livesey, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Gina, you have that as the whole motion? Please, thank you. All right, next is the request to use Roe Park's softball field, Town of Highlands Recreation Department, for a memorial tournament for Michael Coes on the 25th of August, from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And again, they're requesting that we waive the entertainment fee so that they can raise money.
What day of the week is the 25th?
It's got to be a Saturday. That's what I'm thinking.
I just want to make sure we're not running into conflict with the other one. Yeah, provided that's a Saturday,
Yeah, and it doesn't interfere with anything that we've approved already? Right, Charlie?
right.
Okay.
I'll move it.
Second.
Motion by trustee Murphy, seconded by trustee Ramus. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Opposed, motion carries. Next, we have a request for Roe Park from the school district for James I. O'Neill varsity, JV, and modified baseball teams from March 1, 2019 to June 10, 2019.
I'll make a motion on that.
Motion by trustee Livesey. Is there a second? Second by trustee Howard. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have a request for training from at the New York Conference of Mayors for the village clerk. There's a workshop on the 9th of August from 6 to 8 p.m. It's going to be held in Walden. There's no cost for the workshop. Request for mileage reimbursement.
Motion to encourage as many people as possible to carpool and go to this.
Second.
Second by trustee Howard. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I would ask the trustees to see their departments that they're, liaisons to, and have them also go to this, because the topics are something that would benefit them also. Okay? All right. Fire department. You have, the fire department request, requesting a new member. It's pending a physical that's being done tomorrow. Where's the chief? Chief, you want to tell us anything about this young man?
He's active duty, U.S. Army, 2nd Aviation, very energetic, be an asset to us.
Good.
Highly recommend.
I think he was in the 4th of July parade as a color guard, part of the color guard.
Carried the American
Yeah,
flag for us.
that's
Yeah,
great.
Nice touch.
So if we could approve this young fellow to be part of our department, now's the time.
Make
I'll
a
make-
motion.
Motion by trustee Ramus, second by trustee Howard. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And there are a couple of requests. You want to take one of the trucks, the 430 or 428, to a wet down in Salisbury Mills on July 28th, and you want to take engine 428 to attend the Orange County Parade on Saturday, September 22. Correct? If we could allow that?
I'll make a motion.
Motion that those two events be used by our department with our equipment. Motion by trustee Livesey, is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Murphy, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Chief, I'm going to give you an opportunity. Is there anything you want to add to any of this? This is nice stuff which we do read.
Yeah, it's just a brief report. You know, maybe in the past, most of the people sitting up there were members of the fire department and that, but it's just worth bringing up to speed on our fleet. I mean, it's an aging fleet, but as I said in there, we've done a good job maintaining it as it is. But about to hit an average age of 20 years on those rigs. But I think we've been doing a good job over the last few years, funding that reserve fund for a good reason. But it's just worth having in the back of your minds when we think about, you know, capital spending in the future.
We're still winning trophies?
Well, that's not, you know me, but they're ready to fight fires and save lives, so that's the most important.
Do you go to Montgomery Day? By any chance, Montgomery Day? Have Montgomery Day parade?
We don't usually travel much. The county parade and, you know, Lake George, but we don't take an engine out of the village for that, so
Okay.
we're limited and, but it depends, you know, if there's interest and,
Yeah.
yeah. We usually stay
Thanks.
around here.
Thanks, Chief. Those of us that are in the department know the time that you put in for the department. And I can only tell you that the good news, I'm sure sometimes, you know, you get maybe frustrated, I don't know. But I can tell you it pays off. And I know you see that from time to time. We see it a lot of times. I just want you to know that. Thank you. Okay. So again, we have property maintenance. And we have the following addresses. I'm going to lump them all into one because they're all for the same violation, which is outside property maintenance. You okay with that? So the addresses are 20 Lake Street, 22 Mountain Avenue, a vacant lot, 21 Center Street, 8 Fostoria Street, 25 Liberty Street, 128 Mountain Avenue, 14 Lake Street, 9 Sweezy, 6 Cooks Lane. You have all the paperwork that's been issued. Is there anyone here, and as of late today, none of these had been taken care of. That's why they're on the list. Is there anyone here representing any of those properties, either owner or representing?
Can you identify 8 Fostoria?
I have no, 8?
Yeah,
I have no,
ownership.
I don't have names here. So, I will, again, is there anyone here from any of these properties? It's a, public hearing was opened. You have that, Gina? Sorry. There's no one here representing anyone from these properties, so I'll close the public hearing. The Village of Highland Falls Board of Trustees resolution concerning violations of property maintenances. Whereas a long-standing violation of the Village Property Maintenance Law, Chapter 170 of the Village of Highland Falls Code has existed on the properties that I just listed. Whereas the property owner or owners have been given due notice of said violations and have been directed to correct the violations. And whereas the property owner or owners were given due notice of public hearing to be held by the Board of Trustees on the 16th of July, 2018 at 7 p.m. to determine whether the violations have been properly remedied and whether to order the corrective action be undertaken by the village to correct said violations at the property owner's cost and expense, to bill said cost and expense to the property owner and to levy same against the property, And whereas a public hearing was held by the Board of Trustees, and whereas the owner or representatives from those properties that I listed did not appear, and whereas the owners have not taken steps to correct the violations, and the violations still exist, whereas the Board of Trustees authorizes pursuant to Section 170-6 of the Property Maintenance Law to authorize the village to undertake to remedy such violations at the property owner's cost and expense. Now therefore, be it resolved that the board, its contractors, or agents shall enter upon the property to correct the violations of that, and that all costs incurred by the village, including administrative, legal, corrective costs, be charged to the property owner, and such charge shall be added to the tax bill of the property owner if not paid within 30 days of notification to the last known address of the property owner as shown on the village tax records. May I have a motion to accept that resolution?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Howard, is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Livesey. May I have roll call?
Trustee Howard?
Aye.
Trustee Lindsay?
Aye.
Trustee Raymond?
Aye.
Trustee Markey?
Aye.
Mayor Gurke?
Aye. Motion carries. I have bills and claims for fiscal year 17-18, $10,556.30. And I have bills for this current budget year, 2019, of $81,796.85. May I have a motion to pay bills for those two fiscal years?
Motion to pay all bills.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Board comment, Mr. Howard.
Yeah, I discussed this with the mayor sometime. There seems to be a lot of misunderstanding, and on some parts, understanding about the idea of consolidation. I'm proposing that we open up consolidation, that we start talking about what it takes to consolidate, what are the benefits, what are some of the drawbacks. The mayor has called Tim several times, no answers are coming back to us. Therefore, some rumors are, they, whoever they are not going to set up a group of people to discuss consolidation. What are they doing? Are they going to bury consolidation? So I'm making a motion that the board opens up a process where we start looking at consolidation, answer the questions that our people in the village have, and start moving on it.
I'll second that motion.
I'm sorry.
I made the motion.
Oh, you made a motion, okay. Discussion.
Just so everybody knows, I have sent 13 emails since the last meeting also to Round Out Consulting, and I've gotten no response. Every time I call, it goes right to voicemail. So we're not getting anything back from something that we had a grant for and had paid for, which I find disheartening. I know the police department was asked to put forth some more information. They have given that to Round Out Consulting. So we've done whatever work we had to do. And it's unfortunate that they're not getting back in touch with this. I would suggest that the other board members also send emails, maybe just not sending them back to me, or make that phone call also.
I'll reach out to Peter Fairweather, who is also a consultant on it. I did reach Tim's brother once, but what?
You can't now.
You can't now?
No, there's he and his brother and a lady, but they just don't return or emails or phone calls. So what I'll do is, I guess it's time to call the state, who the grant was given by, and the board had picked Round Out, but I'll call the state where the money came from to see if they know anything about Round Out, if they're still in existence, and what our next step should be. being that the money came from them. All right, so that I'll do. Yeah, so I'll definitely do that too. All right. We have a motion and a second. May I have all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Merv, you have anything else, Merv?
I have a police report.
Okay.
Okay, we had 18 arrests, we had 87 summons written up, and revenue collected was $511. And that's it.
Thank you. Merv?
Just real quick, one thing is, we've been getting some heavy rain, and we're going to get more rain. And from what I understand on long-term forecast, Chief, you're going to probably agree with this, a lot of your basements at your homes, you should really prepare them for the worst. And also, Jim, a lot of times too, you want to make sure that those pumps aren't going into the sewage. Okay, so make sure that your pumps down in your basements are making the water go outside. But I know once we get into August, and I've been there with this, with my house, you want to make sure that if it's going to rain, and we're going to get a lot of rain coming down, especially if you live in a flooded area, you got to make sure that your house is prepared. But Chief, you have pumps for like,
We do have a decent,
but you're limited to what you have, right? From what I can remember.
I would say we've increased that capability over the years, but during a hurricane, yeah, we'll be inundated. I live right behind Joe. Joe, I mean, Island Falls has always been a place, just topography-wise, that you're gonna have issues when it floods.
Yeah.
So, like you said, most homeowners, myself included, I have a couple pumps, backups, generator, but
Right. Most homeowners aren't prepared, and they should be prepared.
a lot aren't. A lot of times we show up, their pump died,
Yeah.
and whatever. That's tough. It's tough when it happens during the storm. But as far as I know, things have actually got better with the engineering wise. I moved in, they did the north side drainage. The village worked close with West Point, and a lot of their diversions have helped. But the fact is, we're on a hill, it rains, there's definitely going to be an impact. But the fire department does, do that service pretty frequently during the
On the other side of that, I want to bring out, I've had a couple calls right now. I'm with the ambulance corps, and we've been on a couple calls where we talk about property maintenance. I mean, some of these calls are tough, folks, to get inside your place. It's tough to bring the gurney in there. It's tough. And you got to always expect the unexpected. You never know. And you got to always realize that they have to find the house with a number on the outside, and they have to be able to get inside the house. And lastly, one thing I want to talk about, I brought this up last year, and I'm going to bring it up again this year. I came down Mountain Avenue down there the other day, and I looked over at the school, okay? We're talking a lot about school lately, how we're going to strengthen up protect the children at the schools. Now, when I looked over at the school grounds, the basketball court was loaded with 20 and 30-year-old guys playing on a school basketball court. When I went down yesterday, I noticed that the net is torn right on down on the pole. This has got to stop. The school's got to say, hey, listen, this can't happen no more. As we were saying just before, on the one, they don't want the baseball there, the softball. Well, the schools have to find out a way on Mountain Avenue, that playground that's up there, how the access is not so free because it's becoming a public playground up there. And quite honestly, as paying school tax, and more importantly than that, the safety of the children up there, that's not good from what I seen over the weekend. And I brought this up last year too. And it's the same old thing. So I would appreciate anybody that's listening to me from the schools, you figure out some way up there where the access is just for the children that are allowed on there. not for the 20 and 30-year-olds. We got Roe Park,
There's been a couple cars
and
already.
that's it for me.
Thanks.
Whose attention did you bring it?
If anyone's gonna, wait. Public comment, and then at the microphone. No, it's not public comment time, when it becomes public comment. I'm sorry, that's the rules.
Raise the question.
I understand,
Find out
we'll get to that
factual
if you want to,
information.
if you want to address it under public comment. If you want to address it under public comment. Thank you.
Run your meeting is conducive to that.
I run a good meeting, Mr. Copal, thank you so much. Okay, Charlie.
Oh, I'm next. I do have a couple things. The building department did meet along with the village engineer. They met with the construction manager of the Old Guard about taking down the motel. The architectural drawings met the letter of the law, but not the degree that we want. We want it to be, should the group walk away tomorrow, we want it to be like an open field and perfectly return to its natural state. To facilitate the speed with which they can come back and get all of their permits, both the engineer and the building department agreed to accept a narrative without additional drawings. So that should be done imminently, and the demolition of the motel will proceed. On other things, we're talking a lot about Roe Park. Two items. One is sort of funny, but there was a fake coyote
I see it.
that apparently was scaring off the geese.
We're not sure it was fake because it's gone, so
Well-
it might have run off.
It was smashed, apparently.
I know.
We might want to get a new coyote. On other more important things, I've been getting complaints that the pool is being used by people coming from out of state. And it might behoove this board to consider putting up a sign, at least, saying the pool is for town residents only.
Don't the lifeguards know that when they check?
I don't think they're checking. That's just my perception.
They should be.
Could you?
Yeah.
And then last, and I honestly don't know if this is within the realm of possibility, but we've seen the laundry list of properties that are off the tax rolls, and some of them, you know, you wonder what their public service is, and maybe it's just ignorance on my part, but can we, and I'll direct this question to the attorney, can we request that people who are getting tax exemption come before the village board and explain what their public service is?
You can request from the assessor a list of properties that are either getting exemptions.
We have that.
Then it's the assessor's right, and only the assessor is authorized to grant such exemptions, either wholly or partially. There are also programs under state law for veterans, people with disabilities, etc. So to the extent that the village is or is not granting those types of exemptions in whole as to a class of person, that's up to you guys, but it can't be, you know, you have to come to us and ask.
Oh, no, I understand
Or
that.
explain.
Oh, explain, okay. So
That-
we
that's
can't,
really-
it's
that-
purely in the assessor's office.
The assessor is charged with the responsibility and the authority under the law to determine what is exempt and what is not.
She could meet with us, right?
She could certainly meet
And give
with
an
you if you
explanation
have.
of how she came to that
Yes, you can
conclusion.
go to the assessor and not only get a list, but certainly ask. And that might be something that the board would like to do. just to get a handle on it.
Okay, thank you, that's it for me.
Jim?
A couple quick things. So the sewer department continues to do their routine maintenance upgrades. They are painting down there, cleaning, waiting on, right now, more information from the engineer on the large upgrade project. We have that paperwork in, and we're moving forward on that. The pump stations, they were all in compliance. Another quick thing, the charging station that we have up in the municipal lot, I see there's a couple of vehicles up there charging. That's a great thing. I encourage anybody that has an electric vehicle to get down there. We're looking to finalize the wording on the signs. I think we just about have that set. So we can inform people that, you know, we would like that reserved for electric cars, except during the winter when we have issues with parking, and there's a first come, first served basis down there at that lot, and we just don't want to have two open spots. Mr. Mayor, you asked me to check on the geese, and I'll piggyback on something that Charlie said. I spoke with the DEC officer. We are fortunate enough to have somebody from Region 3 that lives right here in the village. He said he's going to try to make it down to one of our meetings to give us an update on it, or at the very least send us a memo. I'm not going to say it was not going to happen as far as getting rid of these geese, but there are some avenues out there that we can do. One of them is egg addling. So to do the egg addling, we got to do that in the beginning of the season. When the geese have their eggs, we go in there, we'll get a permit for this. You go in there, remove the egg, you coat it with an oil, and then you put it back in. That prevents the egg from hatching. It also keeps the geese there because they want the egg to hatch. So instead of having 3 families over there, which turns into 2 dozen geese, we'll only have 3 sets of parents, so 6 geese. Doesn't harm the geese, and it can cut down on some of the population that we do have over there. That's a safe, easy way. There's a lot of municipalities in Orange County that do that. We just have to get the right permit to do that. As far as the Fish and Wildlife Service, they more or less said the same thing to me. That's all I got.
I just got one of those things. I just want to say, you know, sometimes when it rains in Howland Falls, it pours. But I want to thank you, Mayor, for putting on that parade on the 4th of July.
It was great.
I mean, I want to thank the 4th of July committee, but
Thank you.
I want to really thank you for putting that together.
Thank you.
And
It was great.
I don't know what you were thinking of when that rain started coming down. I could only imagine.
No.
But, you know,
I thought it was great.
The people were there. Everybody was
Yeah.
marching.
Yep.
We tried to keep our black powder dry, but it didn't work.
Yep.
But it was something else. But thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. And I will tell that we're going to have one more meeting to critique. Okay.
That's appreciated.
Anything? Can I see this agenda? Okay, public comment.
Did you motion to approve?
If you have a comment, please look on the back for the guidelines. Thank you. Jose?
Jose Sierra on 65 Snyder. Just coming to see where the village stands at this point again, as far as this water problem.
Okay, as I had said to you a few days ago, and Elise, I have here an email from you that the village now has to do a survey of the Sierra property for the easement part. We'll contact the village engineer if he can do it in-house or let him get someone. So that phone call will be made this week to the village engineer. Then I also have a release of liability that the village is asking you to sign. So Gina, do you have this release that Elise sent us? You do? Okay, I'm going to give this to Mr. Sierra then. Is this prepared, you're prepared to let this go out?
Yes, and Mr. Sierra can have his attorney look at it. What it essentially does is releases the village from liability if anything happens while they're doing that easement or fixing the pipe. So you have the drainage easement and then that. As soon as the easement is done, then the easement should be recorded and you have that and the village will come in and do the work.
Well, I keep coming down here. I've been coming down here for 5 years. Unfortunately, I'm very frustrated at this point, and there's a fork in the road, so we need to decide just what the village intentions, what you're gonna do. Because I have no idea what you guys plan to do. From what I'm getting, it really sounds like a Band-Aid more than anything else.
Okay, so then I won't call the engineer,
Okay,
but what I will do, I think, is have you come in, unless you have an engineer that wants to come in to look at what our engineer drew up. Because that's what you would need to agree to.
Yeah, I mean, I
I
think,
know what I'm saying, I need to agree, we need to agree first, there is so much damage both inside and outside. I'm not talking about, I submitted a claim. I'm being told now that the claim was denied. I submitted that claim to the village. I've been out here before this board, so this is the previous board, for almost 5 years now. I've been saying, hey, there's a problem in the house, hey, there's a problem in the house, hey, there's a problem in the house. No one would come out. So finally, I took it upon myself to hire somebody to show the pipe. Once there was damage and the previous mayor said there's an issue with it and it was our issue, still nothing. I contacted and said, who's gonna pay for that? I then submitted a claim to the village. Didn't hear from him. I then contacted the village attorney directly. I sent a certified letter to your firm in Walden or Wallkill. I have a copy of that. I still did not get a response. I have a copy of it if you need the date and the time. I'm not getting nothing. The village wants to come and put this pipe on. I don't need it. I don't know if you're fixing all the damage or if you're just maybe cutting a little hole there and fixing the pipe. I don't know what the village intentions are at this point because nobody is telling me anything in almost 5 years.
well, the village, let me just say right now that your claim was denied because it was untimely, and the village is not, at least as I understand it, prepared to fix damage to your house or basement. What the village has expressed is a willingness to replace the pipe. And I think that's where all of these, surveys and the easement and the survey of the easement, that's what the village is preparing so that it can replace the pipe. As far as any damage to your property, the village is not conceding any responsibility for that. And the claim was received by the village's insurance agency, who denied it.
But let me ask you something. Did you guys notify your insurance company? Did I turn in the claim at any time?
I think it was sent directly to the insurance.
I sent it myself because the village failed to respond to the claim. You guys are putting all this blame on me. You guys have a pipe that's illegally on my property. You're asking me to give you the easement, which is going to devalue my property.
Mr.
So,
Sierra,
I mean,
you can
there's
either
plenty of
have the
things-
pipe fixed or not. It's completely up to you. But if you want it fixed,
And you guys can remove the pipe also, because the pipe shouldn't be on my property. So you can just remove the pipe, and then you guys can spend
All right.
triple the amount of money going down the street.
Okay. So address everything. I gotta have you address everything up here.
Oh, that's fine. She's addressing me.
Speakers, I understand. And we have 3 minutes a speaker, no more.
Okay,
So let me,
when can I sit down with you guys and talk? When can I find
Yeah, we
information out? Because I keep
need
getting
to
told.
know, we need to sit down, because we need to know, you need to know what our responsibility is and what we're going to do to correct the issue,
That's correct.
okay? That's what you need to know. And I guess I just thought maybe you did, so that's okay.
No, nobody has spoken to me. I don't,
Okay,
they're
so
telling me
I will,
somebody's coming to replace a pipe.
okay. I
There's
will.
damage outside the house that nobody's saying anything about.
Okay, I will arrange a meeting, and I will let the board members know, and I'll arrange it with the, whatever board members want to be there, and along with the village engineer. And we'll meet up there on site, on this, because it's better that way. Do you agree with that?
I'm willing to listen to what you guys have to, but at this point, I also, from what I'm hearing from the village attorney and you guys, is basically, you guys have a pipe that you wouldn't fix the damage from previously. What's to tell me that when the pipe is there this time and something goes wrong, that you're gonna fix it this time? Is that not a fair question?
Well, I don't know.
There's damage there now. I mean, it's like getting in a car accident, your insurance telling you they'll fix the outside of the car, but they're not gonna fix the airbags from deploying
Okay,
inside the car.
Jose, all I can do is arrange a meeting up on site to let you know what the village is going to do to correct this particular pipe that broke
Okay.
through an easement.
An illegal easement.
What's that?
An illegal easement, because there's nothing. that
No,
shouldn't
through
be-
an easement, through an
Oh,
easement.
okay.
No, I don't know, no, this is a new easement, okay? That's what we'll do, and then after the engineer informs you of, and you can have whoever you want there, informs you what we're going to do, where the pipe is gonna go, where it's gonna start, where it's gonna end, where it's going down the side of your steps, you know what I'm speaking of. Then you can tell us in writing yes or no, that's what you want done. And then we'll act accordingly. Okay.
Can I have something saying that this claim that I turned into you, why did the village not turn that claim into the insurance?
That's before me. I don't know if they did or they didn't.
Well, she has to know, she commented on that.
Yeah, so if there's a rejection letter from the insurance company,
I'm sure Regina has that.
yeah. We'll open up the files, because it's a lot of paperwork.
Please let me know, I would like to know when the village submitted the claim that I submitted to them, to the village. When did the village submit that to Travelers?
Okay. All right. Thank you,
Yes, I definitely know it's Travelers. I've done all my homework.
thank you,
I can provide the letter that I
Thank
yelled
you.
to her as well.
thank you.
All right, time frame on this?
I will schedule a meeting with the engineer tomorrow. I'll call him.
You guys let me know, because unfortunately, I can't come. I have to take
Yeah.
off for work and wasting a lot of money. The village has now cost me
I'll let you know when the engineer-
$2,200 on the easement and the topographic survey as
Okay,
well.
I got it.
Okay?
Yes, sir. Anyone else?
Hello, Olga Anderson, Highland Falls. I wanted to, first of all, thank Trustee Aylward for bringing up the matter of consolidation, for Trustee Livesey for all your support over the last number of meetings around consolidation, and the whole board to vote for moving ahead. I'm just not clear what we're moving ahead with. So what really was the motion? I mean, is it just to keep trying to call a consultant who doesn't want to be found? And
For me, what I'm going to do is, I was trying to wait till I got a hold of the Roundout Consulting to see where they were, because that's where we are. The ball is actually in their court.
Well, the ball is in...
No, excuse me, I'm answering your...
We're the customer. The ball is in our court. So I really object to the fact that there's been all this waiting going on, and waiting for a consultant who doesn't want to be found. You called him 13 times, I've called him a dozen times. It just seems that we're waiting for something that isn't going to happen. So I respectfully request that this board place on the agenda for every meeting an update on the status of this study and consolidation going forward.
So you're saying
I'm
we
not
should...
gonna do that, but-
So you're saying we should spend more taxpayer dollars without finding out where Roundout's doing with the money that we already spent?
No.
Should we start a new study?
Roundout is, well, we should complete the study and use
Well, they
the...
have, the money has been
They are in
allocated...
default of the contract. I don't know what the contract
The
says.
money has
in
been
terms of their
allocated to Roundout
liability.
Consulting.
Okay, well then,
So
you know,
what we have to
they're
do
in
is find
default.
out if we can either, yes. So we have to find that out, but that's
Right,
not
yes.
the board, that's an attorney issue, and we are working on that.
The board has to make these things happen with its own decisions. So
Okay,
again...
thank you for your comments.
Yes.
Anyone else?
To get back to it's an important issue to raise. Do you recall who you spoke to at the school about your concern last
I
year?
didn't speak to anybody, because this just happened. When I went down yesterday, I noticed that the...
No, last year you said you had called it to someone's attention.
Somebody from the when you guys were here, I brought this up last year. There was a time that there was a couple members from the board that were here. And I brought this up.
Maybe when they were pitching the budget,
Right.
I was not
But
here.
you see what it is, Ned? I actually stopped there and I got out of my car and I looked. There's nothing around that school area that says private property or must have a pass or, I'm just throwing things out of a hat right
Right.
now. So it's definitely like general public.
Your
You know.
issue is, if I can say, you would like to see no adults playing on that playground.
I don't even want to put it, that's correct, Joe, but and
We have our part.
if you look into this thing and you look behind it a little bit more, most gang-related things happen in areas like that. This was definitely not children up there playing basketball.
And not what?
Children, okay? And that bothers me because, this is a school area. There's no way that this group of adults should be up there. It's going to turn the children around from going there. And if they're going to hang out there, it's just not proper for that to happen at the school. And again, Ned, all I'm trying to say is, we got to tighten up our belts with this school right now. And by having that up there over the weekend, it's not being enforced. And for them to be able just to get in there, and especially to see the net ripped down now, that just makes me look at this like, what's happening here?
Was the time you're mentioning on the weekend?
It was during the afternoon. During the afternoon, I'd say probably like 3 o'clock.
Was it on the weekend?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I think that same concern with regard to persons from outside the community using the pool is a real concern. When you see the vehicles drive up, and the same with regard to the team that was from the Bronx, all of the vehicles, not all, 90% of them were from communities in Westchester, the Bronx, etc. With regard to Roe Park in general, I would ask that the board give some consideration to residents in Roe Park who pay their taxes, who keep their yards and their premises in good shape. It is a public park, we recognize that, and we support that. However, when a Sunday goes for 5-6 hours with the screaming and the yelling and the music at very high levels of decibel, we're entitled to have some peace and quiet as well. And I would ask that at least the board give some consideration to asking some members of the Roe Park community to serve with you with regard to these permits, particularly those that bring about very high level of noise, and persons who come and throw their debris into your yard, etc. I would ask that and would hope that someone would get back to me and some other members who have expressed concern about this. For instance, one of your permits tonight, although the organization may be a worthy organization, I think you were running it from 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night. On a Saturday or Sunday, I think that is more than reasonable. Others have also asked, out of concern for the 4 structures that are built directly opposite what was my parents' home. Skunks are under there. Why there was a need to establish these green structures that everyone coming up Walnut Avenue sees and which negates the positive aspect of the park. There were no permits issued for those, and I would ask that the village consider placing those in a place other than where they are at the present time,
All right.
other than in the middle of the face of the residents who live
Okay.
there.
It's been way past 3 minutes, so I'll just answer this, though. The village, in consideration of trying to work with the town, through Charlie Murphy, has gone down and asked the town to move them. The town, that they belong to the town. I have no clue what's in them. I only know what's outside. On one of them, there's a pallet that I wouldn't want to look at. On another one, there's some garbage there on the side, in between two of them. They're a disgrace. This community has to look at something. If you look at Thickens Field, and you look at Roe Park, and you look at the Little League field, there's 10 sheds. 10. It seems like a lot. Those ones that you're speaking of house town equipment, that's all, town material, town
Right.
equipment. The town has to figure out a new avenue. And since Trustee Murphy went down and asked and was denied, I have instructed the highway department to move them. I don't need your permission. I'll move
Not
them.
my-
Not yours.
their-
I'm not talking about you. I don't need their permission. So we're gonna move them. Now, where we're gonna move them is they'll be partially hidden. They're gonna go past the pool and before the old structure that's a bathhouse, along the wall. Now, you might still see part of it, okay? But you won't see the ugliness as you come up Walnut. They're all a different color green. The town needs to figure something out. Now, it also appears to us that one of them might fall apart if we try to pick it up. So I'm not quite sure how we're going to handle that. But this is in the works on those. Okay?
Thank you. It might make some sense for the village and the town, possibly the school, to build a structure, a single structure that would house the needs, so we don't have a proliferation.
How about the empty school building on Mountain Avenue?
Something to consider?
Would you guys consider something that you might have
I can't-
like that?
I can't speak for the board.
No, I
but-
understand that.
But
I'm asking you to ask them.
I-
Because again, there's 10 sheds, and you know what happens when there's 10? There's gonna be 11.
Right.
That's just the way it is.
I will bring that up and give a response.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. In the meanwhile, they will be moved, the ones that are there. Thank you. Any other comments? Yes. You know what, you're next. I see you keep getting up. Elders before elders first. Oh, Ray, it shows. Sorry.
Ray Devereaux, on York Park. I'd like to thank Mr. Elwood as well, and to reinforce what Ms. Anderson said. Devil's in the details always. So, my understanding is that Roundout Consulting is no longer, period. And we've talked to the gentleman at Department of State, and I suggest that you follow up with this gentleman. I don't know his last name, but his first name is Carl. Carl Roper. Charlie knows how to contact him, I'm sure. And that call could be made in the morning, and then it just seems that there should be a tentative plan, a scheme to move forward, and not to delay this forever. So,
Thank you for your comment.
and I didn't take 3 minutes.
No. And you can't give yours to anyone else either. It says that.
My name is Irina Kelly. I live here on Riverview Road. I was here, I think, 2 years ago when the cell phone towers conversation was on the agenda. And from what I understand, this is, again, you're speaking, it's a new project possibility, bringing cell phone towers into our beautiful community. And I am a little concerned because last time I was here, you were talking about placing the towers down by the sewer plant behind the Mytown Market. That was a possibility then, like 2 years ago. And my concern is, as we all know, the transmitters should be above where people live. You know, like it would be right because we are a little above the river. It would be going right through our homes, and I don't think that would be safe for our children and grandchildren. And I would like to know, is there going to be a meeting, public meeting about this?
Absolutely.
So I'm going to find out in the paper.
Oh, you'll probably find out from a phone call, actually.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much.
Not by me.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rita Doherty, and I live on 9 Riverview Road, and I'm just here to back up my neighbor Irina because I remember going through, I've been up here a few years already, and the first thing I couldn't understand is why you would put a cell tower below. I'm originally from Staten Island, and any cell towers there are up on hills. So to put it directly behind our house, aside from, the obvious lack of aesthetic appeal it would be, in the wintertime when we have our Riverview, the health issues involved. I've done a lot of reading about it, and I'm very concerned about that. I didn't buy a house up here to retire to, I don't know if you heard of Staten Island, they call it Cancer Alley. It's like got the highest cancer rates in all of New York City. I don't want to be dealing with that here, I'm trying to get away from that. My taxes here are 3 times what they used to be on Staten Island. But when I explained it to people, they said, why would you pay that? I says, because it's clean and it's beautiful, and that's why I want to live there. So I just hope you take that into consideration too with these cell phone towers. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
Good evening, Joe Modlin, Highland Falls. I'd like to add to a couple of the comments that have been made already regarding Trustee Aylward and Livesey, but for that matter, the entire board, because I think your motion was a unanimous vote to move forward, to consider and think about the consolidation. I have been listening to this for a number of months, a couple of years. I too sort of wonder, although I don't know anything about Roundout, you got to sort of wonder if they're even in existence or they want to continue to do business. So to Trustee Ramos's point, yeah, you probably need to cross that T and find out what's going on with them. But I do agree, and I think Ray mentioned it, I do agree that if you're going to be serious, and I have every reason to believe you are serious about this, there needs to be a plan in place in terms of what are the next steps that are going to happen. And quite honestly, I think Olga had a good point about putting this on the agenda and just updating the public, updating the community in terms of where things are with this. I see why there'd be no harm with that. So I appreciate it. I think it's a good move, and thank you very much.
For your opinion. Is there anything else? I'll take a motion, yes. Well, if you read the rules, that's not allowed, but go ahead. I always like to break one rule.
Subject.
Exception.
The newspaper said that this meeting was going to take up consideration of the cell tower.
No, it didn't.
Pardon me?
No, it didn't.
What did it say? That's what I read, and that's what it did say.
Was that
That News of the Highlands.
There was a letter to the editor.
No.
No,
There
this-
was
Go ahead.
a article by the newspaper that said,
Well, I'm looking at the editor, and she's shaking her head, no, that was not in the paper.
I read it with my own eyes.
I know.
I saw it.
Okay. All right.
Last week's.
Last week. Okay. All right, thank you. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Make that motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Come on, guys. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you so much.